I look like a good old boy. Now, I want to talk about something about a comment that someone left on the substance and sorcery insanity video I made yesterday, and they mentioned that androgens blast the chakras open. Now, I'm not a big fan of this whole thing of chakras, and I'll tell you why. Not that I don't believe the chakras exist, they probably do, because there's not only are they very central to Oriental spirituality, both in India, Japan, China, but also they have comparative ideas around the world, particularly among Native Americans. So there's similar concepts of energy centers that are general. Even the Kabbalistic tree of life works along a similar process. The whole thing with the chakras in the West, there was a book published in the early 1900s by a character called Avalon, and he said that this is the time when Eastern spirituality was starting to take off in the West, and around the same time Evan Wentz did the first translation of the Book of the Dead, and he said that there was, correctly according to Hindus, there's 6 chakras. The crown chakra at the top is actually a kind of an energy center that pulls them all together. It's not a 7 chakra, and that misunderstanding, that even though he correctly mentioned this in the first book, this was a mess that was got out there, that there was 7 chakras, and that's what every time anyone's ever been to a yoga class or any kind of new agey kind of thing, you'll always told there's 7 chakras from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. This is not correct. There's 6. The one on the top of your head is not the crown chakra. It's considered kind of an energy center that actually mechanizes all the others together. It's almost like the gearbox of the 6 wheels, and that's what chakra means. It comes from a Sanskrit word for wheel. Now this is the thing with this, you have to be very careful, because also within India there has been discussions for years of lots of chakras in the arm, chakras above the eye, chakras everywhere. This is only a recent thing, so you can't assume that just because it's a recent idea that it's ancient, or it comes from the East, it's ancient. One of the biggest culprits of this false spirituality is Helena Blavatsky. I won't say she was, but I wouldn't be surprised if she was some kind of spiritual disinfo agent. A lot of her writing, The Secret Doctrine, and a lot of her writing is absolute nonsense. When you read those books, they're just waffle. They're like waffle. That's, these endless run-on sentences. And she sort of created the New Age. Now, the New Age, and this led to Theosophy. Now, Theosophy is just another form of Christianity at the end of the day. It's almost like, it claims to be like a kind of an amalgamation of all spiritual traditions into a kind of a spiritual cafeteria. It's not. It's a sucking in of all of them into a new form of Christianity. And she put this crap out there like the Christ and Krishna. Now, the Krishna and Christ have nothing to do with it. There's the classic New Age stuff, that there's they're all the same being. And she was also a big one for the Christ consciousness. And this nonsense. Another thing she did was, I'm chewing gum, sorry, very rude. Another thing she did was she re-Christianized Lucifer. This is probably the number one thing that you can use to undermine, or I wouldn't say discredit, because there is some good stuff in there too, but not a lot of it really. There isn't really a lot. Discredit her work. Now, everyone makes mistakes in their work. I've made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. So I'm not a perfectionist in this way. It's part of the process of, the discourse that's happening, this dialogue that we're having. But some things are just way out of order. And one of hers was and Theosophy, they re-Christianized Lucifer. And I'll say something blue in the face. Lucifer is a classical Roman god, has nothing to do with the devil or the Bible. And they kind of made Lucifer, a god of this world, and but in a kind of a Christ-like sense, that it's almost like a kind of a Gnosticism, a kind of a Christian tantra. And you see, there we go again. Everything was pulled into Christianity by Blavatsky and the Theosophists. And there's, you know, you've got to be real careful. Sure, there's gems of wisdom and everything, but I tell you, I'm very dubious about Helena Blavatsky, and have been for years and years now. And she's also the one that said that sorcery was black magic. Magic was magic, and sorcery was the black magic. Sorcery is just another word for magic. That's all it is. Again, be wary of these people who are constantly pushing her work and saying she's a genius and stuff. They're usually all Theosophists. They're from, like, Theosophist families. They're like almost like Jehovah's Witnesses or something. Theosophy is just a Christian cult at the end of the day. Now, so Helena Blavatsky, nah, not for me. Chakras, generally there's a belief there's 6 of them, but that's not, you know, not always the case in India. There never was 7 chakras, except in a mistake in Western philosophy that was pushed by the New Agers and the Theosophy type. So, yeah, you know, you have to keep on checking.